Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining. Welcome, Corbin, Santiago, Jay, David, Kathy, Alex, Hunter, Keisha. Thank you guys so much for joining today's stream. So far, the market is pretty mixed this morning. We had a couple earnings come out, like Baba and Corsair, both of which are down. It's not like they're crashing or anything like that. There was a lot of chop with Baba's earnings, but they are down a little bit. Same thing with Corsair. We can see we have the earnings chart where Tom just pulled up. But yeah, I mean, it looks like we have a relatively mixed day in the market. Tom, are you watching any stock specifically?
Yeah, it was really nice to see British Petroleum beat on their earnings. I think that these oil stocks might do pretty well. Crude oil, I know it crashed down yesterday actually pretty hard, but today or over the past year, oil's been killing it actually, going back to the upside up here around $70 a barrel. So hopefully these oil companies start to report some good earnings, just like what we saw with British Petroleum. And just looking at a lot of these stocks going forward, I think that the overall market is like at a huge crossroads right now. We had the Dow just past all-time highs. We have the SPY failing to break out above 441 up here. And it's just like we're just really failing to break out with like the indices. The QQQ and the SPY have been moving so bad the past couple of days. It's just if that bad movement continues today, we might start to see a pretty good pullback in the market.
There we go. So, yeah, I mean, definitely keep your eye on that. Like I said, the SPY is kind of choppy. Another stock that was moving up pretty well this morning was Airbnb. So if we take a look at Airbnb, we can see right now it's sitting right around 148, and it's been consolidating for so long. So it looks like we're going to have another retest of that 150 area.
Yeah, that was actually a really nice little gap up they had today. And it's actually having a lot more strength than a lot of other stocks are. Hopefully, like you said, we can go back up and retest 150. If you guys are like quick day traders and you want to catch like a quick little trade, maybe a nice pop from like 148 to 150 could be a pretty viable trade if you guys start to see some momentum coming into this stock.
All right, good stuff there. Let me just check on something. So it looks like we have Kathy saying, I have audio but not video. So, guys, let us know if the audio and video is good today. Let us know if we need to edit anything. But thank you guys so much for joining. Welcome, Alex, Mac, Jay, Mindy, Kieran, Jamie. Thank you guys so much for joining. It looks like Jay said, all hail the bots. SM bot killing it on the daily scalps. There we go. Then we have Kieran saying SEDG can move ENPH. So, wow, that one's actually moving up a lot.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this company, but it looks pretty solid, actually. I like how it's moving up towards $300 a share. That might be a pretty hard level for it to get through, especially with how big of a pop we've had since after hours yesterday. Those earnings must have went very, very well for them. Obviously, they beat that 0.78 estimate with a 1.28 actual EPS there. So that's awesome to see for them. And I don't know what these guys do, but man, if they make Enphase go up, I'm happy. And overall, this stock seems like, there's obviously a huge resistance at 300, but even it could go even higher than that just looking at the daily chart.
For sure. So it looks like Solar Edge Technologies is an Israel headquartered provider of power optimizer, solar inverter, and monitoring systems for what is this? So it looks like they have a lot to do with like solar and stuff like that. Maximum power point tracking, all that stuff. So good to know. And yeah, I can definitely move Enphase up. But then we have Sean watching AMD. So I'm very glad Sean brought this one up. This stock has been such a powerhouse not only over the past year, but over the past month. So it's been exploding up. And Tom, I know we had a little bit like of a debate in last night's video, but I'll tell you, like I can really see AMD kind of turning around pretty soon.
Yeah, I could too. I could definitely see it like maybe like by the end of this week sometime. It's just it has so much momentum right now. If it keeps it up, then we'll just have to keep like riding it. But man, whenever this stock starts to go down, I think it'll be a pretty good time to obviously like get into AMD puts. But man, I think Nvidia might start going down. We'll even see the QQQ maybe fall then. So like I think that might be a pretty good time just for tech overall to fall. But yeah, it looks like so far today AMD's popping back up all the way up to 109. So we'll have to see how this one ends up. There was that pretty big resistance up there at 110. We might hit that and then go back down.
For sure. So I would say 110 is the main resistance level to watch, just like you basically said. You know, it's a huge level, and it even struggled off of that level yesterday. So definitely keep your eye on it. But like you said, it's running up already. The market just opened, and there's a lot of momentum, a lot of buyers coming into it. But, you know, just be careful because even if it does pop up to like 111, 112, whatever, the options premiums are getting pretty expensive on this one. So you'll need a huge move for it to be a profitable trade. So just be careful there. We have Keisha saying watching Clove. How's Clover looking?
Yeah, CLOV, it's been doing pretty decent on like the daily chart, just kind of like recovering at that $8 support. I will say $8.40 to $8.50 seems like a pretty big resistance for this one. It's failing to break out above there today. Obviously, though, the market just opened. We could obviously get some more movement. I would say today so far I'm more of neutral on it. I do like, though, on the daily how it held that $8 support. I know that we've been talking about this one for quite a while, Mike, and it's really been consolidating down here for a long time now, definitely for like the past few weeks. So definitely have your eye on it. I think that it's about to break this 1,000 SMA on the 15-minute, and I think once we finally break out of that and we can kind of get out of this range up above like $8.50, we might see a pretty good move.
Tom, check out NVIDIA. Looks like we just broke the $200 resistance, and it's running hard.
Man, what's going on with this? This is insane. I was expecting this one to hit 200 and go back down. So with them popping up, it's honestly blowing my mind. And it's just like AMD, on the daily chart, it just doesn't want to slow down for some reason. I know NVIDIA, though, they still have earnings coming up. So who knows? It could always turn around then. But I don't know what's going on with this momentum right now. A lot of people must be buying up this dip or something because, man, this is a pretty good move. And I don't know what's going on with tech today, but tech is definitely recovering back.
You know it. And then we have 11 saying, what about JMIA? Thank you. So let's take a look. JMIA is down around 2% today. It's just kind of lingering right around that support at $20. This looks like a really strong support level, so definitely keep that in mind. And they also have earnings pretty soon on August 10th. So really, we don't play earnings because they're impossible to accurately and consistently predict. So just watch out for that earnings report, and of course, that support right at $20.
Yeah, that support I think will be pretty big. It looks like a bottom support, kind of like what we have on like Palantir, kind of like what we had on Zoom a while ago, and just like all those other stocks that were falling down. And this stock started recovering up on that May 11th date whenever all the other ones did. So hopefully the JMIA can get back up there. There a lot of people say it's like the Amazon of Africa. So hopefully we can get good movement out of it. It's like fundamentally it should be a good stock for the longer term, but it's so volatile. It's only 60. It went up to $70 a share and ran all the way back down to 20. So, if you were a buyer up here, you'd be pretty angry right now. But either way, it's going to be a longer term play, I think.
All right. And then we have Keisha saying, let's go Enphase. It is popping, Tom. Here we go. So it's up around 4.5% on the day. We're about to retest that resistance right at 192. After that level, we have resistance at 200. They're running up. Let's see. I mean, they have good momentum. It's a great way to start the day. And, definitely keep your eye on this one for the rest of the day.
Yeah, and that one solar stock earlier, whoever commented it, I remember they said that it affected Enphase. So hopefully Enphase can keep going up above 192. I'd love to see it keep going. This is an awesome stock. I know that we've been watching it for a long time, Mike. I know you've been watching it ever since the bottom down here around like May 20th, the 21st, and those type of areas. But man, we're getting so high on this one. We're almost back to if we can start to break out of this little range that we've been in for the past couple weeks and get out above $200 a share, we'll be heading back up to all-time highs here.
You know it. And then Tom, I have to mention it. UPST. So this one's up around 3% on the day. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but it's looking pretty good. This one's really volatile though. Sometimes it'll open up 3%. And then an hour later, it'll be down 5%. So I don't want to jinx anything, but it's looking pretty good right now. Tons of volume coming in. Looks great overall. What are you thinking?
Man, that move out above 130, 450, like 135. That breakout, I should say, is a really nice move today, man. Ever since that happened, it's just been straight up on the 1 minute just about. And it's had like some pretty big candles, not just like, some pipsqueak candles going on. Those are some volatile candles going on Upstart right now, and definitely look for it. It could stop. It hit that like 139.40 area, almost up to like that 140-ish area, which could be a small resistance. But man, just looking at this stock, I love the way it's starting to break out, especially like today, Mike. That was a pretty good move, I think. And I think we could definitely see some more movement for the next couple days. In the past, whenever this one's moved like this, we've seen some pretty good, like 6 or 7 green days in a row. And I'm not saying we're going to see that, but I would definitely look for some bigger moves than what we're seeing now.
All right, and then we have, let's see, we have Alex saying, how does the SPY look? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's kind of pulling back. It had that small little move to the upside ever since close yesterday, which was, it was an okay move. It wasn't the best move in the world, and it's still starting to turn back off to the downside. So we're just going to have to keep our eyes on it, kind of see how it's going. But overall, it still looks like it's moving pretty good. It seems like we could still get some more downwards movement, especially like later on today. It seems like the SPY is like really failing to break out above like this 100 SMA, really like falling off today at open too. I think it shows that the market's getting a little bit weak. And, I'm seeing some stocks running like Enphase. Tesla's slightly green again, but overall I have a lot of stocks red on my watch list. Baba's down a lot. I know like Qualcomm's down, Intel's down. So overall, we're just seeing like a lot of these stocks down today.
Yeah, true that. It looks like Apple's struggling a little bit. I mean, they're technically green today, but they're only green by 0.03%. So, yeah, I know what you mean, though. There's a lot of stocks actually falling. I see the same thing on a lot of my watch list. There's a couple ones that are in the red, in the green by a good amount, like Enphase and, well, NVIDIA was, but, some certain stocks are just like holding up other ones. If we look at my breakout scanner, it looks like snow's popping off, though. SNOW is up around 5% on the day, just broke above the 480 resistance. And, some of these snow weekly options are up like 500% today.
Yeah, some of these like growth styled stocks like Snow are starting to really pop off. This chart honestly is pretty similar to some of these other growth stocks we've been looking at this morning. I really like to see a lot of these things breaking out like this. And I think we might see more movement then over the next couple of weeks. Now that we're finally out of these little ranges, like Snowflake was in the range between like 250 and like an upper level of like 275 for like, 3 weeks to a month. And if we go look at it on the 15-minute chart, just broke above 275, ran all the way up to 280 with an awesome move. And it looks like we could still keep going up. And, a lot of these stocks just seem like especially the growth stocks like Snowflake are really running up today, up 4.7%. That's a really nice mover, Mike. Good find there.
Thank you. Then we have Sean saying, just sold my AMD swing contract from yesterday, 177 to 232 a contract, and he had 5 of them. There we go. And then we have Raphael saying, good morning, Tesla. How's Tesla looking, Tom? I know that it was looking so good yesterday, had a ton of momentum. How's it looking today?
Yeah, yesterday a lot of stocks went down and Tesla ended up going up. And, today, like we're seeing a lot of these other stocks like Enphase and, some of these other growth stocks going up, but Tesla's actually falling off at open here. Is not looking too good. It is coming up over the past couple minutes though. But I will say this move down isn't too surprising, I guess. The move yesterday was pretty big. And with it moving down just a little bit today, it's not terrible. As long as it holds like this level or like the 710 support, I think that we'll still be pretty good for the next couple days. But it just depends also on the overall market. Like if we see in the SPY and the QQQ start to really fall off, then I think that then, Tesla might obviously start to pull back with like the overall market starting to go down. But in the short term, though, I think Tesla might go up on its own.
All right. So we have Hunter saying CLX. I was not expecting this. Down 12% on the day. I mean, I didn't look into their earnings report, but I would expect Clorox to be doing a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this one. That's a very strange move, to be honest, especially like with COVID and everything. You would think that they would be doing a little bit better, like with cleaning supplies and stuff like that. But man, they're like down at the support, like right around like $160. I think this one looks like a pretty good pickup. Maybe like not for the, I wouldn't necessarily grab like a weekly option or like a, a month swing or something right now. I might grab like some leaps like a year or two out, or like start to grab some shares. I think that would be a pretty good time for Clorox. But this drop down is definitely a little scary. I'll have to check out those earnings, and it looks like they really missed out on their estimate, which is not good.
Yeah, like I'm just like scanning through their report, and it looks like they missed their sales, missed their estimate, like you said. So yeah, I mean, it looks like they just didn't have the best earnings. Their EPS is down, gross margin down, stuff like that. So I'll look more into it in a little bit, but yeah, it looks like Boeing is trending down a little bit right now too. Then we have Gerard saying thoughts on Square, looking at calls for a day trade. All right, so Square had an amazing day yesterday. Today it's not looking bad. I mean, it's not looking great right now to me, but if you love the setup, go for it. Always trust your gut. It just looks like right now there's not a ton of momentum. It looks like there is a little bit of support at 265. What are your thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of these stocks kind of pulling back to the upside today. It's kind of weird, they all started to, sell off around open, and now a lot of them are coming back, kind of like Square. I know AMD is still kind of going up here, and we'll have to see like how it ends up. Oh, wow, AMD actually broke all-time highs again. Geez, what's going on with them? I can't believe that they broke out above 110 again. That's a big move, but yeah, every time we look at them, they're higher. But just man, every time we like see these stocks, they're seems like they're just going up like today. So we'll have to see like because these indices are all down, like the SPY and the Nasdaq. So it's kind of interesting, like a lot of these stocks seem like they're either at all-time highs, or a lot of the ones that were down are kind of like, getting these like little tails back to the upside, kind of like Square is today. And it's just, it's been an interesting little recovery day. Very choppy though, really up and down overall. We have a few stocks running, like we said earlier, like Enphase and a couple others, but overall it's been a really up and down type of day.
You know it. So AMD's still going, like you said, Tom. This thing's crazy. I'm still sticking with my belief, and I think it's gonna turn off pretty soon. But yeah, looks like that is that. And then Maine said thoughts on pins. Would like to hear your thoughts for short and long term. So I did not look at I didn't do like a full deep dive on their fundamentals. So like I don't have like a fundamental analysis for the long term, but like just for like on a technical level, there is a pretty big support at 55, and we're getting really close to that. Historically speaking, when they are in this pattern, when like they have like a big fall, normally like they end up continuing to fall for at least a couple more days. A lot of times it's a couple weeks, and a couple examples I have of that pattern are, you can say like in the beginning of March over this past year. You can say like April like 21st of this year, and that one actually continued all the way to like May. Then you can even say like right now. So personally, it looks like they're in a pattern where they continue to fall. So I'm not super bullish on them right now. But like if they can just like test and hold this 55 support, I think that could be good. It's not my favorite setup in the world, but I do like it. I like other stocks better, like Boeing. A lot of other ones, like in the stock signals chat. Let me pull them up. Like Boeing, NCLH, Corsair, Penn, GLD, DraftKings, stocks like that.
Yeah, and I think that their stock could still like move well over the next few years, but Pinterest has honestly just never been my favorite. It's just not like my type of app, so I just wouldn't invest in it just because of that. But in the end, I think that it could end up moving well. But I'm with you though, Mike. I like some stocks like Boeing and like Palantir and a couple of those others a lot better.
For sure. And then in like, for example, like Maine, like if you're like a huge fan of Pinterest, or you know something about their fundamentals or whatever, always trust your gut. And it doesn't hurt to slowly average into shares, because nobody can catch the bottom, not even Warren Buffett. So it doesn't hurt to just like buy a little bit over time. And then we have Sean saying, hey Tom, did you get a chance to check out FUV?
Yeah, I think we actually did. Yeah, look at this stock. I know yesterday it was moving very well early on in the morning. Even after we stopped the stream, I was looking at it a little bit as it started to pop back up. And then today it just fell off. I have it on my watch list, and it's just not having the best day today. But Man, it had a pretty good run yesterday, especially after we were talking about it.
For sure. And then Tom, what did I tell you with UPST? I think I jinxed it. Look at it was exploding at open and it came right back.
Man, that was a big move back down, actually. Hopefully 140 is not like a big resistance or something, but man, that was yeah, you hit it right on the head. Yeah, you were like, man, I hope I don't jinx it, but UPST is doing great and it fell right down. So that's pretty crazy there actually.
Oh well, it's trending in the right direction, which is great, overall speaking. And then we have Kathy saying Neo is up one candle down on the next. Thoughts? So let's take a look. NIO, it's definitely in it's been consolidating for a couple weeks now. It's down like 2% today. Honestly, there's just not any momentum with it. I think it's good for like a long-term hold or like slowly averaging into shares right now, or maybe even selling put options. But in terms of like momentum trades, there's just like not much like momentum to work off of.
Yeah, and I think that that's the case today, but for the past few days, I think it's been moving pretty good. There's been a lot of like big moves like it open. So if you could catch like maybe a good move like that, maybe like tomorrow or like, a different day, then I think you'll be, sitting pretty good with NIO. But for right now, like Mike said, today is just a really weird day. It's really up and down for NIO and really just consolidating and going flat. And honestly, it looks more like it might move to the downside to me.
All right. And then we have Hunter saying AbbVie is still getting hammered. Wow, I didn't even see that one. Yeah, it's down like 3% today. Like, Hunter, you're tempting me to sell some puts.
Yeah, I honestly really like this stock. I've traded it personally in the past. If we look at the max daily, you can see like where I circled a couple times a long time ago, and that was a pretty good buying opportunity there. And I bought in because I think they just like released Call of Duty or something right there too. So with that big gap down, I figured it would be a pretty good recovery play during COVID. And man, it did end up doing very, very well during COVID too. It didn't really pull back too much. And I would say AbbVie could be pretty good, Mike. It looks like it is starting to gap down pretty hard though on the daily. I would definitely look for it though, more of like during this next holiday season, once the new Call of Duty comes out, because they generally, bring in a lot of money like with those pre-orders, and like whenever that game first releases, it's normally a pretty big hype.
All right. Then we have Gerard saying, sold my Zoom calls. Hopefully it wasn't too early. So, yeah, I think you sold it at a good time. Of course, nobody can catch the top all the time, but I think you're getting out at a pretty good time. I mean, they're trending up now, but doesn't hurt to lock in profits. Looks like Roblox is kind of tanking off today, Tom. I don't know if you saw it.
No, that's actually a really weird thing to see. I especially tanking off like this bad, but overall, Roblox has been moving pretty decently, I should say, on the daily chart. Not the best, but it's been like holding its ground. A lot of people, I think, were hoping to see another green day today and maybe, continue that small recovery. It looked like possibly back to the upside, but it got rejected. Has that bad red candle today, and maybe we'll just see Roblox go down. A lot of people in the beginning were saying that it was a little bit overhyped whenever it was up above $100 a share and stuff. So we'll have to see how it ends up moving over the next month or two. But today's definitely not good. It just keeps going lower and lower.
All right. Let's see. Disney's also selling off a little bit. Palantir's rebounding. Microsoft is up a little bit. But yeah, guys, let us know what stocks you're watching. Let us know what stocks you're holding, or if you are looking at for playing, let us know in the live chat. Looks like we have Hunter saying AMC. So let's take a look at AMC. AMC is down 4% today. They've been slowly selling off. Looks like they have earnings pretty soon as well on the August 9th.
Yeah, this is not looking good. If they report like bad earnings, AMC is going to really get hurt, but hopefully they can like report some decent numbers and maybe they'll get a pop back up. Who knows? But man, this is not looking good. They're coming down to that support around like $32.50 again. And hopefully they can like hold this area and go up, because man, on the daily, I will say AMC is looking pretty bad. So be really careful trading this one. If you're going to buy it and hold it for the longer term, just be really, really careful. And obviously don't go all in with it.
All right. And let's see. We have Maine saying, thank you. I love the Pins app and use regularly. By the way, insight on Apple for a potential day trade. So let's take a look. Apple, Right now, it is up around 0.5%. It's trying to run up. They have resistance right around like 146.60, and then after that, the main resistance is at 147. I don't think it looks bad. Let me take a look at the SPY. Well, actually, no. Actually, I wouldn't do this because the SPY is kind of tanking off, and you don't really want to fight against that momentum. QQQ is also tanking off, so yeah, I personally wouldn't play this. You don't really want to fight against the market like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad thing actually to see the SPY doing this. I mean, good for us, but bad for the overall market. But man, overall, I mean, would definitely, I think, maybe pull back on this. And Apple's had a lot of trouble kind of getting going this morning. So hopefully, Apple can keep going for you if you want to play some calls on it or something. But I would say Apple might go flat because since it's a pretty good performer in the market, while I do think it's going to start falling down soon, just keep in mind like it's probably not going to fall down like for example something like Baba would fall or something like like a bank or something. Apple's just a really it always gets bought right back up is what I'm saying. So just be really careful playing like puts on Apple anyways.
All right, and then let's see. We have 11 saying ZI is surprisingly booming. Yeah, it's popping up pretty well right now. They are up around 13%, and they're trending pretty well, which is great. Then we have Kieran saying Enphase boom. ENPH, yeah, they're up a good amount today, like 9%. Lots of momentum, lots of volume, awesome to see. Gerard said, so Boeing is going for gap filled at 220. So, yeah, looks like it. I mean, there's a small gap there. What are you thinking with Boeing, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I have a longer term trend line on Boeing actually down here at the bottom. It's red. I'll turn it blue just to like make it a little bit easier for everybody to see. But yeah, it's the blue trend line down here at the bottom, and Boeing's bounced off of it twice now, 3 times in the past. So be really careful with this. I think if it does start going down, it'll hold somewhere maybe around like 210 and then start to go back up. I really look forward to hold this line. It's been really holding this for the longer term pretty well. So we might get a little bit of another bounce back to the upside soon, I would think, with Boeing. And Boeing's been having a lot of trouble over the past couple months. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does start to turn around soon. And just because Boeing's going up doesn't necessarily mean like the overall market's going up too. If we see the market go down, Boeing's in the type of sector where they could get some good news all on their own and go up.
Yep, I like Boeing for like the next couple months anyways. And then we have Alex talking about TGT. So let's take a look. TGT is up around 1% today. I don't like it. So it is making lower highs. So I like it for like the downside for like the next couple weeks or so. It's popping up a little bit. A lot of stocks are selling off. So I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, like I said, they're making lower highs as well.
Man, I cannot believe that we're seeing this one still going up today. Like you always say, Mike,
Yeah.
Every day Target goes up. Just buy calls at close, and usually you'll win. Even yesterday, if you would have bought it at close, you could have cut like almost at break even. So it wouldn't have even been that bad of a loss in reality. But man, Target is a crazy mover to say the least. And hopefully it starts to go down over the next few days because I was really looking at it to the downside yesterday. And man, just looking at it, I would say that there's a pretty good resistance up here, right around 260 to 261. So if we start to go up and we hit like 261, I would start to really look at it to start to go to the downside. But it also depends on the overall market. If we see the Dow and the SPY start to really recover back up, then maybe Target will just start to go up with that. But, man, I'm really looking at it to the downside. And we've been waiting for it to go down for so long. I was really hoping yesterday was like the first day to like the start of a sell-off or something. And it still could be, we still have a lot of time left in the day today, and Target still could end up going down.
Tom, what's going on with this SPY? It's tanking.
Yeah, the SPY's not looking good. I'll tell you, it's moving perfectly off of these technicals. It's moving really good off the 100 SMA. Generally, whenever something closes below it, opens below it, runs up and touches it, and then ends up going down, that's normally not a good sign, especially with just the way that it's looking, breaking below the low of yesterday. Also, just really selling off on a day-by-day level, even on the 1 minute. We're starting to see some pretty bad moves to the downside. And, man, I would say we might come back down. We're almost down to this support down here around 436. So be really careful. We might hit somewhere around 436 and then get like a quick move back to the upside. So we'll have to really watch this one pretty hard today, but hopefully we can get a pretty good sell-off going.
All right. And then Alex was asking any support to look for SPY going down. So, like, what levels are you watching?
Yeah, definitely 436. I think that we might hit there and encounter some support today. That might be a little bit of like a trouble area. Hopefully we can get down through that though. I think that'll be a pretty decent area. That is also right at the 1000 SMA, which generally is a decent technical on the 15-minute chart. So definitely have your eyes out. I think it can end up though being a pretty good play still to the downside, especially if we fall through 436. But we'll have to see how it ends up going. And we're already down quite a bit today.
All right. And let's see. So we have Facebook tanking off too. So we have SPY tanking, Apple trying to. They're still green. Facebook's falling. Uber's falling. A lot of stocks are falling today. My UPST is falling. Let's see. Disney's falling. Palantir's falling. Everything's falling. No.
Yeah, that's a bad thing to see, man. Disney's really falling off now. I mean, over those past, 5 to 10 minutes since we talked about it last, it's had some pretty nasty candles go on.
All right. And then we have R saying, Tesla, please. All right. They were looking pretty good this morning, but now they're not. They're still technically green, but they're retesting support at 710. If they break below this, the next major support isn't until 700, and that'll be a really, really important level. So definitely keep your eyes on it. It's definitely trading around a pretty important channel right now.
Yeah, it is. We might start to see some big moves out of Tesla, NIO, and some of these stocks that were running earlier this morning, like especially like Enphase, man, like these stocks might start to pull back pretty hard, and like we're seeing with Tesla, it's already starting with some of them, but Enphase might keep up its momentum, but it is at that huge $200 resistance. So honestly, like I'm going to look for a lot of these stocks to possibly start to pull back. And, a lot of stocks that are already down today, like Baba off of those earnings, for example, like who knows, like we might start seeing even a bigger sell off out of stocks like this. And Baba's still below that 200 resistance level. And that's just a really bad sign to see them still below there.
And then check out AMD too. They had a ton of momentum, but I think the market's kind of gonna prevent them from running up today.
Yeah, they are. And I will say they didn't really break out too far above like that 110. Like the high of yesterday was right around like 110.32, and they only ran up another 20 cents to like 110.52 today. So they didn't really break that resistance too well. So it honestly might be like a little bit of a double top there, especially with the way it's moving now. And you're right, Mike. And, this just goes to show that while you can, while the market can seem so good for those first 5 to 10 minutes, it can always start to sell off like we see with AMD and, like all these other stocks today. My watch list is very quickly turning from mostly green now to mostly red pretty quick.
All right. I mean, I hate to say it with AMD, but you see how the high yesterday was like right around like $110.33.
Yep.
So basically, today, like we were just talking about like a couple minutes ago, it broke out above that level, and it actually broke out to like above $110.50, and that was a breakout. And I have like a strong feeling that a lot of people may have gotten like burned on that breakout because it broke out just enough where it looked like, it has strong momentum, and then a couple minutes later, it completely reversed. So, I don't know. I feel like that one's going to be pretty tough for retail traders today.
Yeah, and it seems like the sell-off was pretty accelerated too. Like it wasn't just like a, like for example, like with Tesla, like sure, like we're down, but we're not like straight down, like there's been like only like one candle, but that candle with AMD was pretty rough there. That was a bad move. It was like a 2-point move. And if we see it fall below like 108, and when it falls below this 1000 SMA that it's been holding on the 1 minute, I think we could see a bigger sell-off even. And who knows, Mike, this might be like the beginning of the downfall with AMD, and $110 is honestly a pretty good level for it. We've been almost going straight up ever since we were at 75.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we have Kieran saying, what's the next resistance for Enphase after 200? So, oh wow, we're actually about to break 200. Let's see. So after 200, I'm going to have to go to like a chart from a while ago. Give me a second. Let's see. So we have 200. 210 is pretty strong as well. And after 210, like that 215 to 216 area, I'm trying to see if there's anything else in between like 200 and 210. I mean, there's a little bit of chop like around like 203, but it's just a minor level.
Yeah, whenever stocks are getting this high like this, they generally, like a 2 point move, for example, that's not too big for a stock like this. So just looking at it, I would say, like Mike said, like that 210 level seems like it's going to be the biggest one on the way to the upside here.
All right, and then we have Jerry saying V is going to 200 today. It looks like it. So Jerry, I know you had an amazing, basically risk-free, guaranteed profit trade with Visa yesterday, which is awesome. And if you decide to hold those spreads, the further Visa stock falls, the higher the chance that your spreads will expire in the money for max profit. So it's good to see it continuing to fall. Your spreads are just going to get closer and closer to max value. Plus they're a weekly. Plus they're all becoming in the money, which is exactly what you want. So that's awesome, Jerry. I hope it continues to tank for you. And then we have W saying AJG announced buyback for $1 billion. Is it good for calls? So, I mean, honestly, I'd say no. I mean, the stock's not really moving too much right now. It would be good for the stock, like, over the long term, but, I mean, honestly, it's not, like, a great setup, in my opinion.
Yeah, the buybacks are generally good, but in the end, the stock setup is going to still dictate what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have Maine saying, guys, how to decide support and resistance when a stock at all-time high/low, like on AMD. So, great question. And to be completely honest with you, like, there's really no way to do it accurately. Because, like, for example, let's say, like, 30 minutes ago when AMD was breaking above $110.50, like, the stock has never been that high before, so there's like no past data to go off of. So really the only thing you can do is like judge like half and like whole dollar mark. So like normally there's resistance around 110, 115, 120, 125, 130. So like it just like goes up in increments like that. Those are normally where there's like major levels, and then sometimes there could be minor levels at like 110, 111, 112, and just like levels like that. But to be completely honest with you, there's no way to like accurately get some good levels.
Yeah, there really isn't. It's really hard with AMD and like some of these stocks like this to get those type of levels, Mike. And it's just like you said, that movement and just like the way like it's going up and then just consolidating, it makes it kind of hard to read. And like whenever you're at all-time highs, obviously there's just no other data to go off of. But whenever you're looking at that, I will say though, just like you said, kind of like just those psychological levels, like 115 and stuff, will be like the main, like the main things to look for. So like with AMD, if we broke out above 110, I'd be looking for like 115 or something, honestly, after. So that's just how I would look at it.
All right, and then we have R asking about NVIDIA and Square. So let's take a look. NVIDIA is up around 0.5%. They're not looking good in my opinion. Plus with the SPY kind of selling off, I'm just neutral on them. Like I'm not bearish. I'm not bullish. I'm bearish on like stocks like Apple though. Bullish on stocks like UPST and Disney. And then R was also asking about Square. I mean, yeah, they're selling off. It's not my favorite. Like I'm just neutral on both of them.
Yeah, Square on the daily looks pretty good. It looks like it could keep going up possibly for like the next couple of days, but that sell-off today is just pretty scary with it.
Yep. And then, let's see, we have Ubi Mumu saying, not sure if you covered this already, but can you quickly go over the SPY? It can't die all day today. So, yeah, I mean, it's tanking off. They have support. Let's see, they have a pretty big support at 436. It tested that level on July 27th. After 436, there is support right around, you could say like around the 435 area. It bounced off of that level multiple times over the past month. And then below that, the support is around like 432. So it has a lot of room to fall. And to be completely honest with you, I can see it falling.
Yeah, I could see it keep falling too. And even if we see like a little green candle, like a little pop back up like we're seeing right now, this is just like regular chart movement. We'll probably come back up and probably like retest the 100 SMA or like retest the resistance somewhere and see how it ends up going. But overall, just like on a day by day level, I could see it keep going down.
All right, let's see. So yeah, I mean that's all the questions for right now. Looks like a lot of stocks are red so far today. Redfin down 3%, DraftKings down, Boeing down, Delta down. Tom, what earnings reports do we have over the next couple days?
Yeah, to the end of the day today, we actually have Activision, which is ATV. So that's going to be a really interesting one. I know you talked about possibly selling some puts on them, and they're moving down pretty big into these earnings. That's not a good sign to see. SKLZ later today. I know Energy Transfer, which is ET, is a pretty funny stock. I used to trade them. A lot of people get stuck into these guys because they have a huge dividend of like 20% or something. Something to like draw buyers in, but then obviously the stock, you might get paid a 20% dividend, but you're going to lose 80% on your position over the next year. So it's not really going to help too much, but either way, I'm not really highlighting them, just telling you to be really careful with them. But ATV's pretty good. Oxy's good. Wednesday after close, I think is going to be the biggest time or the biggest day we're going to have. We have Roku, Uber, Etsy, Fastly, Bionano, Genomics. I know that's a pretty big thing lately. Win is even reporting then. So there's a pretty big earnings day on Wednesday after close. And even before open on Wednesday, we have General Motors and CVS, which is tomorrow. So even RCL, which is Royal Caribbean. And, I think that could be a really interesting one, not a royal one, but it could be royally interesting, I guess. But the Royal Caribbean looks like on the daily, it might keep going down in the short term, but man, it's getting down to those levels where I might start to buy up some shares if it could maybe go down to 60, or if it has a bad earnings report, it might be a really good time to start to buy.
If they have a bad earnings report, I might just buy some leaps then and there, or like most likely sell some puts because I've been wanting to get into this one. I know they were running up so much over the past couple months, and no one can catch the bottom, obviously. But yeah, this one's definitely on my watch list. And we have Corbin asking about GLD. So GLD is not really moving at all today, but I think that's also a good thing. It's not really correlated to the market, and on a day where we have everything selling off, like across a bunch of different sectors and industries, GLD is holding strong. So I actually really like this one.
Yeah, and we used to see GLD used to be like an inverse to the market. Whenever the market was down, people would fly into gold and stuff. So if we start to see a sell-off, maybe gold will start to pop, which would be a good sign. But for some reason lately, gold's been kind of moving with the market. Not every single day, not every single move's the same, obviously, but just in general lately, like when gold's been up, the market's been up. So it's been a little strange to see, but I think that on like a longer term sense, like over the next like month, I think we might see gold up and the market down.
All right, yeah, and that's what Kramer was saying too, Tom. Did you read that article from last night?
I didn't read the article, but I actually watched the little video with Kramer. If you guys should go check it out, if you want to just go ahead and go on CNBC or something and check out Kramer's video. But yeah, he went ahead and talked about just how like the market is right now, about the gold sector overall, like the energy sector, the metal sector, and just like how like the whole overall like market's going right now, and how like gold will be like affected over the next couple months. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Kramer's always right or anything like that. No one is. And, Kramer definitely has his fair share of, I don't know how to put it, interesting predictions, or you could say that. But it's just good to see, when you like a stock or commodity, it's good to see other people also like it or be bullish on it. So, we're not saying he's a genius or anything like that. But, GLD's not looking bad. Yeah, I mean, the SPY's looking a little rough right now, and I what I really liked about that article is they talked about like how many stocks are advancing / declining, and we can see that the stock market is basically at all-time highs right now, but we're actually just seeing a lot of stocks kind of falling. So what that means is the stocks that are up are just like kind of outweighing the majority of stocks that are falling. So I don't know, it was just an interesting article.
Yeah, and some of these analysts were looking at some of these like technical indicators using these advanced / decline lines and looking at how the market has these like little moves like up above the all-time highs, kind of like what we've seen lately, and then they'll pull back off. And that's kind of like exactly where we're at now, which they were trying to point out. So definitely a lot of interesting stuff. Go check it out if you're pretty interested in it. But overall, Kramer on Mad Money can be a pretty funny guy. Sometimes his takes on stuff, like you said, are pretty out there. But overall, he's pretty entertaining to watch, nonetheless. Very into it, and I love it whenever he starts to get heated about stuff. It makes me he gets really like into it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we have Alex saying AMD is still falling. So yeah, definitely is. It's down around 0.5% today, and just be very careful for anyone who's holding calls in this stock. I love them for the long term. I think they're a powerhouse company, but in the short term, they're way overbought, and the options are just overpriced, if we're being honest with ourselves. Like, if you go to like a weekly call, and like let's say you went to like at the money for like, I don't know, 109, the 109 strike calls for this week, I mean, it's just not worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually earlier in the stream, whenever we were talking about AMD and it was up a little bit, I actually bought a little 109 put just because I really thought AMD might start going to the downside over the next few days for like August 20th. And man, so far it's paying off. Hopefully it keeps going down over the next few days. A little gamble on like some August 20th AMD puts here. But man, just looking at like the max daily, I think AMD could really start to go. And even on the 1 minute, we finally broke below that 1,000 SMA and that like 108 resistance. And it looks like we came back up and just retested a level. And man, if we start to see more sell-offs now, then it'll be pretty scary. But hopefully we don't start to see more green come in, because if we go back up to all-time highs on AMD, who knows how high we can go. This stock might not be done yet, but hopefully it is.
Yep, and then we have Keisha saying, I mentioned the squeeze in XELA yesterday, but I know how you guys feel about penny stocks. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy it's popping for you. It's up like 10%. We don't really trade penny stocks, but the momentum is definitely there, and I'm very happy to see that for you. And then Keisha said, do you guys think SKLZ will follow after Corsair? So, I would think so, given that, obviously Corsair fell on their earnings report and SKLZ is already following them. So I would definitely say so.
Yeah, they might start to go down even more, but just keep in mind, it might be a little priced in,
Yep.
So like if they're pricing it in now, it could get a little priced in, but expect a drop, but it just might not be as drastic as you think with it going down today.
Exactly. I think that's a great point, Tom. I think it's already being priced in because the stock's down 5% today. So great point there. And then we have Mink saying, good morning. Can you look at Oracle? Absolutely. So ORCL is actually one of the few stocks that are green today, Tom. So it's up 1.5%. Looks pretty good. Resistance at 90. Support, let's see, intraday support at like, you could say 80. You could say like 88.20 or so. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I could see that too. Let me go to the 5-day, 15-minute chart. Yeah, it's actually breaking out like actually over the past 5 days. Got to go back a little bit further, but yeah, I would say like right up there around 90 seems like a really solid resistance. Somewhere like 89. Yeah, you could say like 89.70, kind of like you said. But just looking at this stock, it's been, like you said, it's one of the few stocks that are actually up in green today. Looks really solid actually, and I'm glad to see it moving like this. But even this stock on the daily chart starting to look pretty overextended. And I don't know like if we're getting into like bubble territory or what, but a lot of these stocks could fall almost 50%, it seems like, and still be up for like the good part of like the whole part of last year. So that's a pretty like weird thing to see, like these stocks are getting pretty overextended, and Oracle looks really solid, but I would look for it to start to go down over the next like month or two, kind of like what we're saying like with AMD and all these other ones. But Oracle's it is kind of like a different type of beast though. They are in a totally different sector, and almost every like business, I know like tons of businesses that use Oracle. So it's a pretty big software company.
All right. Looks like we're seeing a lot of stocks sell off, Tom. Starbucks down 2%, Google, Facebook, Apple's getting there. Like even like some of the bigger name companies like Apple, Facebook, and Google are starting to sell off.
Yeah, Starbucks' daily chart looks scary actually. That's starting to really come down. You're right. Apple even looks like it might start to fall too. This is becoming to be like a market sell-off here, Mike. Apple's actually falling below a lot of my SMAs, not looking good. And man, these moves around openers just looking pretty bad on these stocks. They'll go up and hit like a resistance level and just fly right back down, and that's not the stuff that you want to see. You want to see it kind of hold up there, hold some levels at least, but it's not looking good. And I could see it keep going down. Obviously, it's having some trouble because it's Apple, but I think that if once we finally fall below that low of today, right around like 145.25, I think we'll see a pretty good move. If you guys set an alert there and you get into some quick puts or something, that could be a pretty good move, I think.
All right. Let's see. Roblox still going. So, yeah, I mean, those are the main stocks right now. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that's really moving. I mean, Apple is like, it's trying to hold its ground. Like, it's not going down without a fight. Like, especially intraday. Like, it's all over the place. But I would definitely expect it to fall, like, over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, me too. And even like for like the next couple days, I think we'll start to see a fall. The SPY is not looking good in the short term, Still it's it did hold like that 436 support down there. It's kind of like bounce right there, coming back up a little bit, which is a little expected, but I think that we'll see more sell-off start to come into this over the next like day or two. This was a pretty good move today, so maybe expect the SPY to come back up a little bit and expect stocks to maybe recover up slightly, but I think like later on today or tomorrow, we'll see more of a sell-off, but we might see a little bit of a recovery for like the next few minutes, in my opinion.
All right. So, Tom, do you have any last-minute stocks or anything you're watching for the rest of the day?
Man, it's hard to say. Today's been a pretty crazy day. It's hard to say, but I will say Baba's looking pretty interesting. It looks like it's recovering back up a little bit, so not sure what we're going to see with that. DraftKings is down today and looking like we might get a good buying opportunity in before these earnings. If we start to see a little bit of a sell-off before these earnings actually come out, and then the earnings come out and they end up being good, that could be a great thing for anyone who buys some shares or like sells some puts or something before those earnings come out. I think that could be a pretty good way to go with DraftKings. And there's a pretty good support at like $40. So definitely have my eyes there. But the main stock that was running today was Enphase earlier today. And let's kind of go like revisit that, because if we could see them come back up and retest $200, I think that could be a pretty good day trade. But man, with everything starting to turn off and go to the downside, it's hard to try to play Enphase for a good breakout here, because it's just with everything going down, it's really hard. So honestly, I'd look more for like maybe like something like with VXX later on today. But for right now, I think it's going to be a pretty hard time to try to like figure out something to trade if someone's like has to trade right now. Personally, I think this might be a good time of the day to maybe like kick back, relax, and maybe take like 30 minutes for an hour, maybe just see how the market ends up going.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you guys so much for joining today's stream. We had a fun time this morning. So thank you guys so much for asking great questions. And thanks for joining and supporting us. We really appreciate it. And we hope you have an amazing rest of your day.